Bienvenidos and welcome back to Puro Pinche Gol, the place we discuss all things USMNT y la selección mexicana. My name is Adrian. I'm joined once again by my co-host and Tocayo, Adrian. Adrian, how you doing, man?
I'm doing just all right, dude. I'm ready to talk USMNT, ready to listen to your thoughts, and excited to see Toño Hudson.
Man, just all right, man. I thought you'd be really excited, like crazy excited for Toño Hudson, man. So yeah,
You gotta get me pumped up.
I'll pump you up, man. Toño Hudson will pump you up. As you mentioned, man, we're going to be previewing USMNT's upcoming fixtures for the Nations League, the CONCACAF Nations League, against Grenada and El Salvador. Before we jump into it, Adrian, just quickly, man, where can our listeners find us?
Our listeners can find us, depending two different ways. If they want to see our pretty faces, they can find us on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on the notifications. They can also find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever they get the podcasts on.
Awesome. Yeah. So let's jump right into it. So Toño Hudson, this is going to be his first real challenge as interim head coach. The January camp cupcake matches don't really count. They were not a FIFA official. They were friendlies with not the A team, to say the least, not the B team, more MLS guys, which is a good thing, seeing them, every once in a while, seeing who's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
But this is kind of a mixture of a lot of players that played in the World Cup. I think it's 12 to be exact, and a mixture of up-and-coming European players, a couple MLSers, and a couple that are, that maybe should have gone to the World Cup but missed out because of injury. So, let's just kind of, we our previous episode, we kind of gave our reactions to the roster. There's been slight modifications to the roster. Just Tim Weah got injured this past Saturday playing for Lille. Hit his head, had a concussion protocol, and so RIP indeed. Georgi Mihailovic from AZ Alkmaar took his spot. So quickly, just to kind of summarize who's in the squad here. There's 3 goalkeepers, probably the U.S.'s best 3 goalkeepers on paper. Ethan Horvath, Zach Steffen, and Matt Turner. There's 8 defenders that were called up. Serginho Dest from AC Milan, Mark McKenzie, Genk, Tim Ream, Fulham, Brian Reynolds, Westerlo, Anthony Robinson, Jedi, Fulham, Miles Robinson, who missed out on the World Cup due to injury with Atlanta United, Joe Scally, Borussia Mönchengladbach, and Austin Trusty, Birmingham City. You have 7 forwards or midfielders that were called up. A lot of familiar faces from the World Cup. Brendan Aronson, then a new face that we kind of spent some time last episode talking about, plays for Internacional in Brazil, Johnny Cardoso. Excited to see him. I'm not going to lie and say that I've watched a lot of him, so I'm excited to see what he brings to the table.
Yeah.
Luca de la Torre with Celta Vigo, Weston McKennie with Leeds, Yunus Musa, Valencia, Alan Sonora with Los Bravos de Juárez, and Georgi Mihailovic with AZ Alkmaar. Again, I don't know. Sonora is going to be another one that's going to be interesting to watch. But if you notice there, the midfielders, there's one key player missing. That's Captain America himself, Tyler Adams. I know you don't like it when we call him Captain America. In your eyes, Pulisic's Captain America, right?
He is Captain America.
So forwards, a couple new faces in Taylor Booth. Daryl Dike is back in the lineup. Ricardo Pepi from Groningen is back in the lineup. Christian Pulisic, Chelsea, gioreyna, and El Traidor, as you call him, Alejandrozendejas, or how he goes by now, Alex Zendejas.
Alex.
Yeah.
Get out of here, man. Come on. That pisses me off, dude.
So yeah, man. So unfortunately, we said Tim Weah, the G Tim Weah is not in. So, it's a squad that it's a mixture of A-team players and probably B-plus players. I think there's only 3 non-European based players in this squad: Alejandrozendejas, Alan Sonora, and Miles Robinson.
Johnny Cardoso.
Johnny Cardoso. I always forget that guy, man. He's such a new face. But yeah, definitely a nice mixture of experienced players, young players, new talent, and excited to see what this team brings. Before we really kind of jump into analyzing the matches, man, what are your initial quick thoughts of this squad.
No, honestly, like you can't complain. This is a stack roster. Like even if you have a if you have someone falling out because of injury like Tim Weah and Ty Adams, you have people to cover them. Albeit they might not be at the same level, but Georgi Mihailovic, it's not a bad option to cover for Tim Weah. Um, Even the likes of Luca de la Torre, or even calling up Johnny Cardoso instead of Ty Adams because of injury. I haven't seen Johnny Cardoso, but he's playing in freaking Brazil. He knows, he must know something, right? He must be
Yeah.
good.
Right.
So all in all, I don't think anyone can complain. I mean, regardless of, I think everyone is just ignoring the fact that we still have Toño Hudson as coach, just because we have a very strong team. It's a good roster, man.
Yeah, when 10 years ago you would have been only able to field 11 Europeans. Now you have European backups to your European starters. And
Exactly.
back then it was kind of an A team, and then you had your B team of MLSers. Now you kind of got your A team of Europeans, B team of Europeans, and then your kind of homegrown MLS players. Which is exciting. There's a lot of European or American talent in Europe right now.
Yeah.
So kind of diving into these matches, man. From what we saw from Toño Hudson against Serbia and Colombia in the January Camp Cupcake matches. He, like his predecessor, Triple G, is really fond of the 4-3-3 formation. That's the same
Hmm.
formation that the USA used against Iran in the World Cup, against Netherlands and Wales in the World Cup. They changed it up against England, played a little bit more defensively. Obviously, England was one of the favorites to win that tournament, so I could see why they played more defensively there. But this is more of an attacking formation. Looks like we'll
Hmm.
likely see this formation for the first two games, which, to be fair and to be respectful to the opposition, the U.S. is kind of expected to dominate and dominate well and win and have possession.
Yeah.
So just like we said with Mexico, they better win, man. No excuses.
They better win. Uh-huh.
So I guess diving into the preview for the first match against Grenada, um, the difference between the U.S. squad and the Mexico squad, if you guys caught that Mexico episode previewing the two matches for the Nations League, Mexico kind of is bringing two different squads. They're bringing kind of a B team for their first match and then the European team for their second match, European A team. Here, I don't think that's necessarily going to happen. He called in these 24, I believe it's 24 guys for both
Hmm.
matches, since they're both FIFA approved matches. They don't have to report back to their club teams. So he just called one roster. I don't think he's going to make any major changes. But saying that, I believe that the USA usually in qualifiers struggles in away games. They struggle playing in Central America, struggle against playing the island teams. So I see Toño going with a more experienced squad in this away game, knowing that if he wins the away match, the El Salvador game is at home in Florida, should be easier in theory. Um,
In theory.
so I think for this team or for this first match, we're going to see more of the European/World Cup veterans here. Um, and I predict again another 4-3-3 as probable lineup formation with Turner. I think he's undisputedly the number one keeper for the U.S. at this moment.
Yeah.
And Dest as right back, Jedi as left back, Tim Ream as a center back, and with
Timmy.
Mark McKenzie playing center back since he didn't bring Zimmerman. So I think it'll be a Ream McKenzie partnership. Um, for the three midfielders, I could see two of the three World Cup midfielders we saw, McKennie and Musa. No Adams, unfortunately. So I see maybe Luca de la
Mhm.
Torre going in there and taking Adams' spot. And then for the forwards, I see Pulisic on the left side, Reyna on the right side, and Dike kind of just leading the forward line there. Um,
Oh, all
yeah, I could see
right.
him as a big
All
target man
right.
since they were kind of used to playing with Haji, right? I see him kind of as
Mhm.
a similar player to Haji. So
Gotcha.
just man crossing those balls in and hoping that Dike gets a header or something on that. So yeah, I mean, with a team this experienced, mainly a World Cup roster there. Um,
Yeah.
Assuming they play how they played in the World Cup, I don't see this really being a big trouble for them. I say that, but like I said, they struggle in CONCACAF
I
some
mean,
reason.
I don't blame you, man. I mean, this is as you're pointing out, this is a strong team. They have played together for a while. Going back to your comment of Toño only taking 24 players because he knows these players, right? He's been with them for at least a World Cup cycle,
Right,
unlike Diego Coca, who just joined like a month ago, and he was like
right.
an afterthought, or well, not an afterthought, but he was a not necessarily a well thought out solution for Mexico. But I totally agree with you. This should be an easy game for them. No excuses, no complaints about what's going to happen. You have very strong players. You have players who are playing at the top of at the highest level on each league. And just because you don't have Ty Adams doesn't mean that you get an excuse to say, well, we tried and we lost, or we tried and we didn't win. Um, I'm excited to see Daryl Dike.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see him, and I'm excited to see. I mean, there's 5 subs allotted per match for these games, so I think we'll be able to see maybe coming in Taylor Booth maybe comes in for Reyna at the second half. Miles Robinson maybe comes in for Tim Ream at the second half. Joe Scally from Borussia Mönchengladbach maybe comes in as left back. Austin Trusty, who's one that you and I discussed last week, that we
Yeah.
haven't really seen
Mhm.
him, but another exciting prospect. Um, one of the key points here that's kind of been hitting the news about this squad, um, the whole Reyna situation. Obviously, we're not going to get into it, but following the team the last 2 days, that they've been kind of arriving to Florida. Um, they've seemed to have, at least on the the cover, seemed to have kind of swept it under the rug. It looks like they're positive about it, so hopefully it doesn't affect it, the team
Yeah.
mentality. um you know Christian Pulisic came out and said he kind of supports Greggberhalter, and he's appreciative of what he's done for the team, and he'd be happy to have him back as a coach. So yeah, I mean, hopefully all that just doesn't really affect the team here, and if it does, we might see some fracasos and some big L's against these teams here.
No,
So
I don't think that'll be the case, dude. I honestly feel that if Reyna's putting up a tantrum and being a pain in the ass, they're just gonna blow him off. Be like, dude, like we really
yeah,
want you in the team because you're a talented player, but honestly, we can just replace you with even Alejandrozendejas, right? So
right, yeah. So talking about Alejandrozendejas, Zendejas, I think for the second match against El Salvador, that's going to be played in Florida. We'll be seeing him. I think we could see the starters that played against Grenada rest. As they prepare to head back to Europe. It's not a super
interesting,
vital match. I think. I mean, obviously, it's a vital match. They want to defend their title. They want to, uh, you know, advance far, play the final against Mexico, which are the 2 top teams in the region.
hmm
But if they win, and if they win big against Granada, they'll have a pretty good cushion in their group. So they might rest some of their veterans and start many of their new faces. So I think this could either go 2 ways. It could be a 4-3-3, like we know he likes to play, or in order to give more players a chance, he might play a 4-4-2. Um, I'm assuming he's going to play a 4-4-2 here with Zach Steffen in goal. He plays Trusty as left back, Joe Scally as right back, Miles Robinson and Mark McKenzie as center backs. Then he gives a chance to Cardoso and Sonora in the midfield, and he kind of plays
wow,
Zendejas kind of as a midfield slash forward guy, kind of
hmm
controlling the number 10 role there, and Aronson on the wing. And he plays 2 forwards. He plays Pepe at the very top as your number 9 striker, just behind him, Mihailovic. So I think it'd be another really attack attacking centric formation that gives we don't really see the US ever playing with kind of 2 number 9s,
hmm
because they don't really have number 9s to spare.
exactly.
But with with that midfield of Sonora, Zendejas, Cardoso, and Aronson, I think it'd be very explosive. All young guys, all fast guys, and just feeding balls to Mihailovic and Pepe there, with the four defenders all European based, except for Miles Robinson. But Miles Robinson has a lot of experience. So yeah, I mean, I think it's another match that should be a win, regardless if you play the starters or these guys. I think, like I said, this is probably a B team, B plus team. So what are your thoughts? Do you think we'll kind of see a switched up lineup against El Salvador?
Yeah, I think so too. I think if it's a big win against Granada, he's not gonna risk it. He's just gonna, even if he plays, the bench, it's still a good team. It's still a very competitive team. It should still, in paper, be better than El Salvador. I'm very surprised that you're putting Sonora as a starter for this game. I mean, I think I personally I see Sonora as a third string player, behind Georgi Mihailovic. Like I think, to me, it's difficult for me to make the case for him to start in any of these games. Right, I can see him coming off the bench in one of these two games, especially if it's an easy one, if the US is winning big time or is controlling the game. I can see Senora jumping in and subbing maybe Musa, or subbing Mackenzie, subbing Aronson, Cardoso, whichever the case may be. But it's difficult for me to think of a USMNT with Sonora as a starter, just because of his current performance with Ciudad Juarez, which it's not good. I mean, he's not
Right,
necessarily starting. He's not necessarily playing the entire game. He's coming in like for 45 minutes, 30 minutes. He's not assisting. He's not scoring. So it's
right.
very it's he has had a very bland performance. So I would like to know why you're playing Sonora here.
I think we kind of talked about it when we kind of mentioned the roster drop, but I'll go ahead and kind of go into detail again. I think it's kind of similar to Dest, a guy that's not playing in his club team. I'm not necessarily going to say
Uh,
he's going to play all 90 minutes. If he's thinking it
mhm.
up like he has been for Juarez, they'll pull him at the halftime. But I think it's a
Yeah,
way to kind of get him away from his club team for a while where his situation isn't that good, play with a new group of guys, and maybe try to get his confidence up, especially if they win against Granada well, and give him, hey, you haven't started for Juarez in a while, but we're going to give you the benefit of the doubt. You're going to start this match for us here. We know you can do it. Let's see what you got, and maybe just the confidence booster, that he's been needing.
yeah,
We see it a lot of time and time and again for Christian Pulisic, who gets benched at Chelsea for a while, comes to the U.S., does amazing with the U.S., and then goes back and he gets hot for Chelsea.
you're
Some
right.
of these players can use this break as a reset point. So I don't know. I mean, hell, he might not even start. But I think you wouldn't bring him in, as someone that's not playing well, someone that's not hot right now at the moment, and just have him on the bench, like a castigo, like, hey man, we're gonna bench you even
Yeah,
more, So I think he'll play and maybe start again, not the 90 minutes, good 45, 50, 60 minutes maybe. It'll be interesting to see what he brings. I mean, like you said, I mean, we watch him in Liga MX. Well, not really watch him because he doesn't really play, but we'll see what he does, man, with this
all
new
right. I
roster.
mean, well, I buy it. Te la compro. I think you made a good point. I'm sold, dude. So I'll see if freaking Sonora makes something up, out of these games, and then you can go wrong with the power, with the Eredivisie power at the front with Pepe and Mihailovic. Both of them have been playing great. Unfortunately, Pepe's playing at a team who's gonna get relegated,
Yeah,
but he's been in good performance so far. So again, I think both, even if this is like the B team of this specific call up, it's a good team, man. You got some
yeah.
nice players out there.
You brought up a good
Hmm.
point with Pepe. It might be we might see a lot of American players get relegated this season if Leeds go down.
Hmm.
If Leeds go down, the Pepe goes down. Who? There's a couple more I can't remember off the top of
Musa,
my head. Musa, yeah, with
Musa,
Valencia.
with
Um,
Valencia.
yeah, that would not be good. Um,
No.
But I guess as we wrap this up, let me give you my predictions, and then I'd love to hear your thoughts on score predictions here. I think against Granada, um, being that it's at Granada, I don't expect much, but from the U.S. team because they suck playing away from home. But I still think they'll win 2-0. And I don't think they'll play amazing, even though it's pretty annoying. They play well against Wales, they play well against England, they play well against Iran, but then when they go play against Granada away, they play like a high school team. So I think they'll win, and they should win comfortably, but there'll be some scares there. So I'm thinking 2-0 against Granada, and I think they'll probably win with this B team 2-1 against El Salvador. What are your thoughts?
All right. I think it's gonna be a walk in the park for the USMNT in Granada. 3-0, easy peasy. Two from Dike and one Pulisic, for sure. And then
Nice.
in El Salvador, I think is gonna be a tough opposition. I see. I don't know if it's gonna be 1-0 or 2-1 or 3-2, but I think the US will uh, take the advantage and win in Florida by 1 goal. And I think Pepe will score. Uh, if it's a 3-2, Pepe will score the brace, dude. I can feel it.
Nice, yeah. Um, do you think they have to resort? They were going to have to resort to their A starters. If it's 0-0 in the 55th minute, bring on Pulisic, bring
Yeah,
on Reyna, bring on.
I can see them bringing in, the heavy artillery. They can probably gonna, put Pulisic and I'm not sure about gioreyna, but they can definitely play Daryl Dike, Pulisic. I mean, you have some good strikers out here. You have Taylor Booth, he's been in decent form with Utrecht. I can see they put in Weston McKinney if things get a little rowdy with El Salvador. But yeah,
Yeah.
well, I mean, and then again, I also see Toño Hudson saying, you know what, we won against Granada. There's nothing. We don't have anything to prove here. Let's just freaking call it a day and close the door. 0-0. I'll take it.
Oh man, I could see Toño Hudson doing that as well. But oh god, I hope they don't. Jeez, that would suck, man. Imagine going to that match
I
and watching
know.
a 0-0 against El Salvador. Oh,
Man, you'll fall asleep, dude.
yeah, man. No kidding. Well, exciting times. We have four exciting
Hmm.
matches to watch up here in the next couple days this weekend. So it's going to be fun starting off with Mexico on Thursday. And I think the last match is on Monday or Tuesday. Can't recall.
I
But
think it's Tuesday. Yeah.
Tuesday.
Hmm.
So, yeah, looking forward to that. And, if you're listening and have watched our previous content, we we'll be doing six things we learned about the two matches, not Suriname, Granada, and El Salvador. So if you're not familiar with six things we learned, it's kind of a series we do after every USA or every Mexico match, where we analyze the
Hmm.
matches and kind of review the six things, good, bad, or neutral, that we kind of our takeaways from the match. So we've done it with the two U.S. games, the January Can Cup kick matches. We haven't had a chance to do it with Mexico matches yet since they haven't played since the World Cup, but you can expect to see one for Mexico for the two games and one for the USA for the two games. So those are always fun to make and fun to talk about. So make sure you guys check us out. Adrian, before we wrap up here, man, where can our listeners find us?
They can always find us on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on the notifications. They can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever they get their podcasts on. Lastly, they can find us at Puro Pinche Gol on Twitter and Instagram. We'll be posting some stuff every now and then.
Yeah, make sure to follow us on your preferred platform of social media of choice. And Adrian, always a pleasure, brother. See you in the next one.
Always a pleasure, my man. Take it easy.
See you, man.